Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. A lot of you have been asking me for my Super Bowl 51 picks. I haven't done enough homework, but the research I have done has me foreseeing a Packers and Colts Super Bowl. And in the past weeks, I've written a comment to several people about why I see a possible Packers Colts Super Bowl for as soon as Super Bowl 51, which will be hosted in Houston, Andrew Luck's hometown, who is the quarterback for the Colts. And with regards to Andrew Luck, he was drafted number one overall coming out of Stanford. Him being drafted to the Colts caused Peyton Manning to go to the Denver Broncos to play under John Elway, who in history was drafted number one overall out of Stanford, just like Andrew Luck, drafted by the Baltimore Colts, who are now the Indianapolis Colts. He was traded from Baltimore to Denver, where he had his Hall of Fame career. So there's this triangular relationship between Luck, Manning, Elway. Of course, Manning just won the Super Bowl. Could we see Luck win it as soon as the next opportunity? Well, check this out. Just yesterday, February 16th, the 47th day of the year, we get this headline about who will play in the Hall of Fame game. That's the first NFL game of the season. It's not a regular season game, it's just the first preseason game played. It's played in Ohio on the day of the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. This announcement was made yesterday, the 47th day of the year, a special number to the NFL. The first Super Bowl was in the 47th year of the league, the season of 66, the 47th season of the NFL. Ohio is the birthplace of football. Ohio has Gematria 47 as well. Fitting to have an announcement for the game in Ohio on the 47th day of the year. This is a numerological code. A code that is followed by the Freemasons, a code that I used to predict a Broncos Super Bowl in October. At the time I made that pick, people said it was idiotic because Manning was washed up. There's no way he could win it. I said, well, sure, Manning is washed up. He's done for. And should he win the Super Bowl, you'll see just how rigged this league is. So I know a lot of people in this world are marinating on that. And we saw Peyton Manning win the Super Bowl throwing wounded ducks. The worst, if you don't know what a wounded duck is, it's a wobbly, horrible pass. All throughout the game, Manning was throwing wounded ducks not seen since Rex Grossman, the only other quarterback Manning had beaten in a Super Bowl prior. If you've missed all my work on the Super Bowl, all the coding for it, please check it out. A wealth of knowledge there. Anyhow, in this video, I'm going to show you what yesterday's news has me thinking about a Colts and Packers Super Bowl and Super Bowl 51. Okay, so last year during the regular season, there was the death of a former NFL coach, Lindy Infante, who coached two teams, the Colts and the Packers, now the teams meeting in the Hall of Fame game. The date he died on was suspicious. It was before Thursday Night Football with the Colts playing the Texans. 2 years in a row on almost the exact same day of the week for Thursday Night Football, it was Colts versus Texans. Both times they were dates with 33 numerology. Anyhow, he died on this date, October 8th, 2015, which was exactly 122 days before the Super Bowl hosted in San Francisco. So I was saying, his death very much connected to the Super Bowl, possibly a ritual sacrifice, possibly also a sign of a Colts-Packers Super Bowl. We know that didn't happen. It was Broncos-Panthers. However, this might have been foreshadowing for what was to come for this coming season. That's the hard thing about breaking the code. Sometimes you see these scripted events, but it's hard to predict exactly what it's lining up for. So anyhow, his death came exactly 131 days before the announcement yesterday of the Hall of Fame game between the Packers and Colts, the teams he formerly coached. 131 is a standout number. Super Bowl and championship both equal 131. I'm not sure if in history it has ever been that the Hall of Fame game ended up being the Super Bowl. I've been trying to look it up. I haven't had any luck figuring that out. And speaking of luck, Luck is also a word with 47 gematria, tying into all this coding. Andrew Luck, check out my video from last season on why the first game he missed was on a date with 13 numerology, where the game ended up going to overtime with Hasselbeck as the quarterback, 13-13. Think about luck in the number 13. The NFL's all riddles by the numbers. This this announcement yesterday also comes 174 days before the Hall of Fame game, which will be played August 7th, 2016. 174 is a standout number. It connects to the New World Order. The New World Order controls this nation, always has. This nation's a New World Order creation. NFL football is a New World Order distraction. This was a number coded in a big way on this year's Super Bowl. It's coded into the name of Gary Kubiak, who won with the Broncos 33 years after being a quarterback on the team, the same year Elway was. It's also a number that was coded on the Carolina Panthers, who were defeated in the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl coming will be Super Bowl 51, hosted by the Houston Texans, who have gematria of 51. I showed how San Francisco had gematria of 50. They were hosting Super Bowl 50. The date of the Hall of Fame game is also going to be played on a date with 51 numerology, syncing up with Super Bowl 51. And one more point for you sports fans. This coming year will be the 112th World Series. Houston is the only team in Major League Baseball that has a connection to the number 112. In spring training last year, I predicted that the Mets would be in the World Series. They ended up being in it. I thought they might win it as well. Obviously, that didn't happen. But notice how New York equals 111. They were in the 111th World Series. The Astros have a strong chance at being in the 112th World Series. The last time the Astros were in a World Series, they faced the White Sox. That's because the Astros were in the National League then. They're now in the American League, which means if they were to play a Chicago team again, it would be the Cubs. And that might very well happen. The World Series could be Astros-Cubs. There's a ton of Chicago theming. Chicago was heavily coded into the Super Bowl. So anyway, just want to show you all these connections, show you what I'm thinking. This isn't my final prediction, but there is a strong narrative, a strong possibility. If you bet $100 on a Packers-Colts Super Bowl and it happened, you would win over $10,000 as of today. All right, until next time. Encore. With all the talk of Houston, I forgot to mention that Andrew Luck, the quarterback of the Colts, played his high school ball in Houston. So if he played in a Super Bowl there, it would be the return of the hometown hero. If you don't follow the NFL, Andrew Luck has been a magazine poster boy in college at Stanford, and even earlier in his NFL career. He was touted as possibly the best drafted quarterback in the history of the league. So, him emerging now that Manning's out of the picture, entirely possible. All right, until next time.